Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I'll be talking about Jayden Daniels and how a lot of NFL players think that Jayden Daniels could be a Patrick Mahomes 2.0, and the Commanders have a super bright future. The league is scared of the Washington Commanders. So we'll be talking about that in today's video, and a bunch of cool Jayden Daniels stats that will blow your mind. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. We're less than 100 away from 14,500, trying to hit it by the end of the year. It's going to be really tough. If this video does well, maybe we'll hit it. So subscribe. It's free. It takes 1 second. Less than 40% of y'all are subscribed. So this is a report, today, and that's going to be the title of the video. But honestly, I think Jayden Daniels is his own player. I don't think there's a player like him in the NFL. I think he's very unique. There's some players that you see them and you're like, all right, this player is very similar to Mahomes or very similar to whoever, Peyton Manning, Andrew, whoever you want them, want to compare him to. But Jayden Daniels is very unique, and you can compare him to Lamar. I just think they're different players. Lamar is a little bit of a better runner. I think Jayden Daniels is a better passer, definitely has more potential as a passer, has that cool, calm, and collectiveness that, I'm not saying Lamar doesn't have, but I think he has it more than any player in the NFL. He has ice in his veins. There's no moment that is too big for Jayden Daniels, and I'll be going into some of those historic clutch stats that he has in a second for you guys, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But this is from James Palmer, who's a senior NFL reporter. Most people know him, 134K followers, does stuff for the Broncos, but mostly just NFL Network. He reported this, just said players are thinking this. I'm sure NFL executives are thinking this as well, or similar to this, where the Commanders could be scary in the future. I mean, they already have 11 wins. Think about what they can do with a good roster around Jayden. And I'm not saying the roster's awful right now, but it's not great. I mean, besides Terry, they don't have many good receivers. They don't have a 2, maybe not even a 3. I think Noah Brown is a 3. Probably a 3, but he's out. And then, Zacchaeus is a good rotational receiver, a 3 or 4, but they don't have a 2. The offensive line could still use some help. The running backs aren't great. Tight end, Zach Ertz is decent, but they could use someone else there as well. Defensively, their D-line's all right. Linebackers are good. They need some more help in the secondary, especially with Lattimore out. We really haven't had Lattimore all year. We had him for 1.5 games. So, I'm not even counting that. With Lattimore, it's a little bit different, but, they could still use some edge rush, another edge rusher. They could use another receiver, another tackle, stuff like that. So this roster is far from being complete, and they already have 11 wins, maybe 12 wins in their first year with JD5. So that's why players are taking notice of this, of Jayden Daniels, and comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. Maybe not the player, just in terms, maybe not how their play style is, because it is a different play style. Jayden's much more of a runner than Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes is a little bit more arm talent, and they're just different players. But in terms of the clutchness, Patrick Mahomes is super clutch. When he goes, when he's back there for your team, or for the Chiefs, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but when he's back there, they're gonna drive down the field just like Tom Brady. And with the Commanders, you feel really good when JD5 is back there taking the team down on a game-winning drive, because he's done it a lot this year. Some stats: first rookie to throw for 3,500 yards and run for 800 yards in a season in NFL history. 127 yards versus Atlanta, most by any QB in a game in the last 2 seasons. He put the team on his back in that game. There's no doubt about it. He put the Commanders on his back and got them that win on the ground, 127 yards, also had 3 touchdowns. Here's the stat: he's thrown 12 fourth quarter and overtime touchdowns this season, the most by a rookie in NFL history. Clutch when it matters most. There's still another game to be played. That number could go even higher. I mean, if you think CJ Stroud had a historic rookie year, Jayden Daniels is blowing that out of the water. Jayden Daniels is playing better than CJ Stroud did last year. The Commanders have a good record, and you look at the roster that CJ Stroud had last year versus what Jayden Daniels has this year. CJ Stroud had more to work with. CJ Stroud had Nico Collins, who is a really good receiver, and the Commanders have Terry. He also had Tank Dell for a lot of this season. Laramie Tunsil, Pierce was good last year. I swear they had another run. I don't know if Cam Akers is on the team. I mean, the running backs weren't that good last year, but the receivers were good. They had Tunsil. They had some offensive linemen. They had Dalton Schultz. Like, their offense, I think, was a little bit better than the Commanders. Their defense, was somewhat talented as well. They had Petrie, Will Anderson, a couple other guys, I believe, that left in free agency. And yeah, Jayden Daniels, I mean, he's had a great rookie year. And I'm not taking away anything from CJ Stroud because he had a really good rookie year as well, and they won a playoff game. I'm just saying I think Jayden Daniels had a better rookie year, and the amount of hype that CJ Stroud got last year was insane, and Jayden is getting that hype right now. And it's just crazy as a Washington Commanders fan to start to see these reports like, oh, people think he has a chance to become the next Patrick Mahomes. And hey, this is his first season. Patrick Mahomes didn't play until his second season. So getting Jayden Daniels under a rookie contract for 5 years is huge. And if he's a franchise quarterback, which we know he is right now, and if he stays healthy, hopefully that happens, knock on wood, he's going to be, the Commanders are going to be a contender almost every year he's here, as long as Adam Peters and company build the team well. But the real window to win is the next, this year. I mean, this is the first year, but the 4 years after this year, his second, third, fourth, and fifth year under rookie contract, when you're not going to be paying him much. You're still going to be paying him a little bit, but you're not going to be paying him that $50-60 million. I don't even know what it's going to be when he gets an extension, $65-70 million. So you're not going to be paying him all that. You can pay the money, give the money to a receiver, to some offensive linemen, to some whatever you want to help out JD5 and this Commanders team. And, you have that window until he gets that contract, and you're going to have to make some moves. But they're in a really good spot right now. This is the comparison between him and Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes is a better quarterback than him. But like this season, Jayden Daniels has had a better season than him. And again, I'm not saying that he's better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying he's had a better season. Obviously, Mahomes, I still think he's the best quarterback in football, even though, he hasn't had a good season, a great season this year. He's actually, had a decent, last 6, 7, 8 games because the first half was kind of rough. But, I know when the playoffs come around, he's going to turn it on like he always does. JD5, we have yet to see him in the playoffs, but from everything we've seen, JD5 is cool, calm, and collected. It doesn't matter what is happening. You see him. This is an example. He's just chill, locked in, like Marcus says in the comments right there. He's just waiting to play football. And even when he's on the field, I mean, you see him, Jalen Carter, when they spiked the ball, he tried to block it or whatever. He tried to time it perfectly, which was, respect. That's fine. And, both of them were laughing about it. And that's just for a rookie quarterback to do that. And I believe it was the next play or maybe the play after that to throw a dot to Jamison Crowder. He's just different. I'm sorry. We've seen guys like this, even RG3, right? RG3 was good in his rookie year. Not as good as this, obviously. But he was good. Very good. He brought excitement to DC. But the maturity wasn't always there. It wasn't really there. And you could, start to see that in his rookie year. But JD5, we've seen from day one and heard about the maturity, how he's wise beyond his years. He got drafted, and on the plane ride it was either to the opening press conference or back from it, he was already looking at plays and taking snaps back with the VR or whatever and trying to learn the playbook. That's just different. Not a lot of guys do that, especially not a lot of guys that are as talented as Jayden Daniels. So to see that is absolutely great. Here's another, comparison between Lamar, or just another comparison in general with Jayden Daniels. And this was before this past game, so it's even better right now. But, Lamar Jackson, he won MVP last year. And his stats, he had 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You see the yards, completion percentage, rushing yards, and, the touchdowns and QBR. Jayden Daniels, this was before this past week against the Falcons. And I just basically divided all the numbers on a 17-game pace, divided all the numbers by 15, which is the amount of games they played, and then multiplied by 17 to just kind of get the full season numbers. And, these were the numbers he was projected for: 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,700 yards, which the passing touchdowns more than Lamar, the interceptions more than him as well, but now the touchdowns are even more. So he's probably going to finish with 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, which is, about the quarterback to or touchdown to interception ratio Lamar finished with. He's going to finish with more yards than Lamar. The completion percentage is significantly higher. The yards are already higher than what Lamar Jackson had last year in his MVP season. The touchdowns are higher. The QBR is significantly higher. I'm not saying he's better than Lamar, or I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just, and I know I'm literally comparing the two. I'm just trying to show y'all how good this rookie season is, that it stacks up with Lamar Jackson's MVP year. Not his, best year, but his MVP year last year. Obviously, Lamar this year is having an outstanding year, an even better year than he did have last year. But I think Jayden has had a really good year, like you guys see in the stats here. I think he deserves some MVP votes. I really do. I think he's an MVP. I think, Lamar deserves it. But I think JD5, he deserves to get some MVP votes for taking a team that had 4 wins last year, and now they're up to 11 wins, have a chance to get to 12 wins. It just does not happen, man. It does not happen very often, and he's a special guy. The maturity, the talent, and just him on the field, and everything about him, there's no knocks on him yet. Even when he throws a bad interception, you see, okay, he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back, and that's the best thing. I would say maybe the only knock is, he runs a lot and he gets hit a lot. You would like to see that not necessarily change in terms of running a lot, because, it is part of the offense. But I would say, let's try to run him instead of up the middle sometimes. Let's run him outside and let him get out of bounds, because, you avoid some hits. That's going to help out the team a lot, or help out Jayden Daniels and the team a lot in the long run if he can just avoid, even if it's 2 extra hits a game, by not going up the middle and getting tangled up with those offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Just run to the side, and at most you get, a hit in the shoulder or whatever, or an injury like that that's like a week or something, instead of like a concussion, or sorry, instead of a major injury that could happen when you're just getting tangled up there. I don't know. It just gets me. The vibes aren't great when that happens. And honestly, I think the success is better on the outside. I think they've gotten a lot more success on the outside, and you have that sideline to protect yourself if you want to go out of bounds. And usually in the sideline, on the sides, when you're running the outside, you have more open space. And I think that's good for Jayden, and limiting his, the amount of hits he takes, and also just maximizing the yards he gets. But that's it on the Jayden Daniels video. I just wanted to talk about this, and just Jayden Daniels appreciation video. I was listening to the Kevin Sheehan podcast. He had a bunch of stats as well on Jayden Daniels. Here's one more. Let me pull it up here. So he has 3 go-ahead touchdown passes in the final minute of the fourth quarter / overtime this season, most out of any player in the NFL. Another clutch stat for Jayden Daniels. That's out of any player in the NFL. So yeah, huge there. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.